Call to order the regular City Commission meeting for the City of Dickinson for March 3rd, 2026. Let the record show that all commissioners are present. First item this evening is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming this evening. We'll begin with the order of business. Mr. Dossinger, are there any changes to the order of business?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the Commission. There's no change to the order of business this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions on the order of business as presented? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I so move.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with a second. Any further discussion on the order of business? All in favor of the order of business as presented, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. We'll go into consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda, commissioners, you wish to discuss? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Is there any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We will move into administration and finance. We have our land sale purchase agreement, Stark County and the Armory. This will be presented by City Administrator Dossinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Administration recommends approval of the purchase agreement between the City of Dickinson and Stark County for the sale of the Armory and Law Enforcement Center properties, with the closing anticipated on or about October 1st of 2026. The agreement provides for the sale of the following real property owned by the city, described as Lot 2, Block 1, the Museum Center Edition, commonly referred to as the Armory, and Lot 1, Block 1, Museum Center Edition, known as the Law Enforcement Center land. The county shall pay the city $2,500,000 for the property. Title will be conveyed by the warranty deed at closing, subject only to permitted title exceptions. The closing is scheduled to occur on or about October 1st of 2026 at the title team in Dickinson. Unless extended by mutual agreement, possession of the property will transfer to the county on the date of closing. The agreement is contingent upon the following conditions being met prior to closing. The city conveyed marketable title, no third-party claim or liens against the property, execution of a memorandum of understanding allowing city personnel continued access to the indoor gun range located within the facility, which is described as attached as Exhibit A in your packet, execution of a right of refusal agreement attached as Exhibit B in your packet, and dedication by the county of approximately 53.7 feet of the east portion of the LEC property as a public right-of-way to the city, attached as Exhibit C. Exhibits A, B, and C will be signed and taken care of at the closing as part of the requirements under the purchase agreement. If these conditions are not satisfied or waived by closing, the agreement becomes null and void. The property is being conveyed in an as-is condition without warranties expressed or implied. The county acknowledges it has a full opportunity to inspect the property and accepts it in its present condition. The proposed purchase agreement outlines the terms of protection for both parties and the transfer of the Armory and Law Enforcement Center properties. The agreement includes appropriate due diligence provisions, contingencies, title protections, and ongoing access accommodations for the city. City Administration recommends approval of the purchase agreement with Stark County, and Stark County has approved this purchase agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions on the land sale and purchase agreement between Stark County and the City of Dickinson?
Mr. Dossinger, just for clarification, the LEC building, that's just real estate, correct?
That is correct. The city doesn't currently own the LEC building. We do own the land underneath the facility.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Frederick. Any further discussion? Any questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Our next item up is our city attorney contract. Mr. Dossinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. City administration has negotiated a proposed city attorney agreement with Macov, Kellogg, Kirby, and Kloster PC to provide full-time municipal legal services to the city of Dickinson. The agreement establishes the terms, scopes of services, compensation, and expectations for the provision of city attorney services over a 4-year term. Under the agreement, the city retains Macov Kellogg as its city attorney on a full-time basis. The city will be considered a client of the firm. The city attorney duties will remain the same as they currently are now. The agreement acknowledges that designated attorneys will maintain private practice, but require the firm to ensure consistent availability for city matters. While all attorneys within the firm are available to serve the city, the following attorneys are designated. Christina Wankel will be the principal city attorney and primary point of contact. Stephen A. Fetch will be the secondary representative, and Morgan Jacobs will be the additional backup attorney. This structure ensures continuity of legal services and coverage in the event of scheduling conflict or absences. This agreement provides for a monthly flat fee structure as follows. From March 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2026, there will be the cost of $1,500 per month. This fee is what we currently are paying for right now. From January 1 of 2027 through December 31st of 2028, the charge is $1,600 per month. And from January 1 of 2029 through December 31st of 2030, it would be $1,700 per month.
Mr. Dossinger, you might want to add a zero, otherwise we're getting a really good.
$17,000 per month. I'm sorry about that.
Move to approve.
I'm sorry, $17,000 per month for the months of January 1st of 29 through December 31st of 2030. The firm agrees to avoid conflicts of interest and will not represent parties adverse to the city. Representation is subject to compliance with the North Dakota Rules of Professional Conduct. If a conflict arises or the firm lacks necessary expertise, the firm will promptly notify the city and consult regarding alternative counsel. The agreement, like I stated, is a 4-year term commencing March 1st of 2026 and terminating December 31st of 2030. If the primary designated attorney ceases to serve in that role, either party may terminate the agreement within 30 days' notice. City administration recommends approval of the city attorney agreement with Macov, Kellogg, Kirby, and Kloster PC as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions on the city attorney contract?
Mr. Dossinger, going back to the other contract, did it have the same inflation adjustment on it before?
It did, correct.
Okay.
My only other question is, this is obligating a future commission here, possibly if this turned over. I mean, the only out for a future commission is Ms. Wanko would have to quit working.
Commissioner Frederick, obviously, if that were an issue, I would certainly entertain that conversation with the commission at that time, whether that would be continued services or not. So I'm certainly not opposed. It's obviously the client's decision on whether they keep us retained. So if that was the situation, that would be a conversation that we would have. And if the commission ever decided that I wasn't the right person for the job, obviously I would step aside and do that ethically. I would be required to do that anyway. So.
Okay, all right. Just a question I came up, so thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Not, I look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Looking forward to another 4 years. And now we also have our prosecution attorney contract. Mr. Dossinger?
Thank you, Mr. President. City administration has also negotiated a proposed municipal prosecutor agreement with Macaf Kellogg Kirby and Gloucester to provide municipal prosecution services for the city of Dickinson. The agreement is effective from March 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2030 for a 4-year term, subject to termination provisions as outlined in the contract. Under the agreement, the firm will serve as a municipal prosecutor under direction of the city attorney and will report all work product and ongoing case status to the city attorney. The city will be considered a client of the firm. The municipal prosecutor duties would remain the same as they currently are now. The firm has designated Christina M. Wanko as the principal municipal prosecutor and Stephen A. Fitch as the assistant municipal prosecutor. Any additional attorneys assigned to represent the city must be appropriately qualified and are subject to city approval. The city will compensate the firm on a monthly flat fee basis as follows. From March 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2026, $17,000 per month. And from January 1 of 27 through December 31st of 2028, $18,000 per month. And from January 1 of 29 through December 31 of 2030, $19,000 per month. The flat fee covers all municipal court legal services, excluding appeals. In the event of an appeal to the North Dakota Supreme Court, services will be billed separately at $300 per hour. Previously, this was $215 per hour. The agreement runs from March 1st of 2026 to December 31st of 2030. If the primary attorney ceases to serve in that role, either party may terminate the agreement within 30 days written notice. The agreement also includes standard conflict of interest provisions consistent with the North Dakota Rules of Professional Conduct and prohibits representation adverse to the city. City administration recommends approval of the municipal prosecutor agreement with Macaf, Kellogg, Kirby, and Gloucester as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions on the prosecutor's contract? If there are no questions, I look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear.
Aye.
Mr. Riddle.
Aye.
Mr. Frederick.
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Mr. President, I would just like to take a moment to say thank you for your continued support. I will say that I think I can honestly say the last 2 years have kind of been interesting, and I think we've navigated some challenges, and I want to thank city staff for helping me navigate those challenges. And I also would take the moment to say that working with everyone here at the city and getting to be involved in everyone's departments, I truly feel that you have a great group of knowledge-based employees here that are very knowledgeable, and it makes my job a lot easier. And not only are they extremely knowledgeable, but they're really great human beings. And that's the best part of this job. From the city administrator to everyone at the police department, all city staff, I really truly feel a part of the family here at the city of Dickinson, and I'm honored to continue to represent the city of Dickinson and serve you well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, job well done, and glad to keep you on board.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is our call for election of a new sales tax. This will be presented by City Attorney Winko and City Administrator Dossinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. The city of Dickinson initially adopted a 1% sales and use tax in 1990. In 2001, the city amended its sales and use tax ordinance to adopt an additional 0.5% sales and use tax. The city of Dickinson operates under a home rule charter, which authorizes the imposition of sales and use taxes. However, the charter further requires that any additional sales and use tax must be approved by a majority vote of the qualified electors of the city prior to enactment. Since the last sales tax amendment in 2001, the community's needs have significantly evolved. The Board of City Commissioners and city staff has identified increased and ongoing demands related to infrastructure, capital improvements, and particularly public safety. The city now confronts a number of public safety projects that are necessary and beneficial to maintaining the continued health, safety, and vitality of Dickinson. The proposed resolution would submit to the qualified electors of the city the question of imposing an additional 1% sales and use tax within the city of Dickinson. The additional 1% tax would be dedicated solely to funding public safety infrastructure and operations, including personnel, equipment, facilities, technology, and capital improvements. The additional funding mechanism would provide a sustainable local revenue source to address both current and future public safety needs. If approved by the City Commission, the resolution provides that the proposed additional 1% sales and use tax shall be submitted to a vote of the qualified electors of the City of Dickinson at the regularly primary election scheduled on June 9th of 2026. The notice of election attached to Exhibit A in your packet is approved, and the city administrator is directed to publish the notice in the Dickinson Press as required under applicable provisions of the City Code and North Dakota Century Code. The form of ballot attached as Exhibit B in your packet is approved for use in the election of the proposed measure. The form joint powers agreement attached as Exhibit C is approved. That was approved today at the County Commission meeting. The resolution itself does not impose the tax, but authorizes the submission of the question to the voters. If approved by the electorate, the additional 1% sales and use tax would generate dedicated revenue restricted to public safety infrastructure and operations. City administration recommends approval of the resolution directing the question of imposing additional 1% sales and use tax for public safety purposes to be submitted to the voters for the City of Dickinson at the June 9th, 2026 primary election. At this time, I'd like to have a motion on the resolution.
Commissioners, are there any questions on this resolution? If there are no questions, this would be Resolution 08-2026. I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Riddle,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. The, I guess one comment before we move on, we will be posting the language shortly in the Dickinson Press and other areas, if I'm correct. And then,
That is correct.
Yeah. We'll move on to then the sales tax joint powers agreement. Mr. Dossinger?
Thank you, Mr. President. The City of Dickinson and Stark County have negotiated a joint powers agreement pursuant to Chapter 54-40.3 of the North Dakota Century Code for the cooperative administration of funding dedicated to public safety infrastructure and operations. The purpose of the joint powers agreement is to provide long-term finance for public safety infrastructure and operations, including personnel, equipment, facilities, technology, and capital improvements. The agreement contemplates the levy of an additional 1 cent city sales and use tax dedicated specifically to public safety purposes. The tax will be subject to voter approval through an amendment to the Dickinson Code of Ordinances. The proposed ordinance amendment will be submitted to the voters at the regularly scheduled primary election on June 9th of 2026. The ballot measure will seek approval of the additional 1 cent sales and use tax dedicated exclusively to the purpose outlined in this agreement. Under the terms of this joint powers agreement, the city will dedicate 20% of the revenues generated by the additional 1 cent sales and use tax to the county. The county share must be used solely for public safety infrastructure and operations, including personnel, equipment, facilities, technology, and capital improvements. Any allocation of funds by the county inconsistent with this agreement will result in termination of the agreement. The county must provide an annual report to the city during the city's annual budget review process, outlining how it intends to utilize its portion of the sales tax revenue. The county must provide additional requested information regarding expenditures to ensure compliance with the agreement. The city will collect the additional 1 cent sales and use tax and transfer 20% of the revenues to the county on a quarterly basis. Funds dispersed to the county will be deposited in the county's general fund, restricted to the purpose identified in the agreement. The city and county mutually recognize that allocating this additional 1 cent sales and use tax to public safety is beneficial to both jurisdictions and the residents we serve. The agreement will remain in effect pending the June 9th, 2026 election. If the voters approve the ballot measure, the agreement will remain in effect until the later of 1, repeal the ordinance adopting the additional 1 cent sales and use tax, or 2, termination of the agreement by the parties or the county obtaining home rule status and independently collecting a sales tax. If voters fail to approve the ballot measure, the agreement will terminate upon certification of the election results. City administration recommends approval of the joint powers agreement between the City of Dickinson and Stark County to provide for cooperative financing of public safety and infrastructure and operations, contingent upon voter approval of the additional 1 cent sales and use tax at the June 9th, 2026 primary election. And as I did state before, this agreement was approved at the County Commission meeting this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions on this joint powers agreement with Stark County? There are no questions. This is Resolution 09-2026. I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We'll move into, you have a request, Mr. Dossinger, for Public Works Operation Evaluation Consultant.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Commission. The city's Public Works Department consists of approximately 80 employees assigned across 7 divisions, which includes buildings and grounds, forestry, solid waste and recycling, utilities, which includes both the water and sanitary sewer, water reclamation facilities, streets, and fleet. These divisions are responsible for the operation and maintenance of critical municipal infrastructure and services. With the recent leadership transition in Public Works and the department currently under the interim management of the Deputy Public Works Director, Jake Waldo, it's an appropriate time to conduct a comprehensive operational evaluation. The purpose of this evaluation is to ensure the department is structured and functioning in a manner that promotes efficiency, accountability, regulatory compliance, and long-term sustainability. To accomplish this, I am requesting approval to enter into a professional service agreement with Interstate Engineering to conduct a comprehensive Public Works Department evaluation, provide actionable recommendations. The cost of the evaluation is $95,112 plus mileage at 85 cents per mile rate. The overall goal of the evaluation is to assess the department's organizational structure, job roles, operational procedures, asset management practices, safety compliance, budgetary alignment, and performance metrics. The outcome will be a roadmap for strengthening management systems, improving operational consistency, and positioning the department for proactive long-term service delivery. The evaluation will include several areas, including organizational structure and management, operational review by division, which would include the forestry, buildings and grounds, utilities, street and transportation, fleet services, water reclamation facility, solid waste, and recycling. This review will assess preventative maintenance practices, regulatory compliance, asset condition, work planning, field operations, and alignment with adopted service levels. It would also touch on performance and accountability, technology and data systems, and will also complete a SWOT analysis and final report. The evaluation will be interactive and conducted in coordination with me and key staff. The process includes interviews with employees and supervisors, field observation of operations, review of job descriptions and organizational documents, evaluation of facilities, equipment, and operational practices, analysis of maintenance records, regulatory documentation, and budget performance, review of training records and safety programs, and an audit of division-specific operational practices. This methodology will ensure both quantitative analysis and qualitative feedback, which will be incorporated into the final recommendations. Ultimately, this evaluation will position the Public Works Department to better serve residents, extend the life cycle of city infrastructure, and improve transparency and accountability. City administration recommends the City Commission approve this professional service agreement with Interstate Engineering to conduct a comprehensive Public Works departmental evaluation pending legal review of the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Dossinger. Any questions for Mr. Dossinger?
Mr. President.
Commissioner Bear?
Mr. Dossinger, I just got a couple questions. My question is, this seems like a very extensive evaluation of Public Works. And my My question is, I understand we got rid of, we ended up terminating the public work director, but it seems like we're spending money on a very big evaluation on, and to me, it sounds like Public Works is a mess, and that they're not doing their jobs, and that there's issues there. I'm just wondering why such an extensive evaluation? I mean, are we really going to learn that much? I mean, as far as I know, Public Works has been running very well. Why to this extent?
Thank you, Dr. Bear, for the question. It's in my opinion that the evaluation to this extent probably should have been completed years ago.
Okay.
I think it probably should have been done at least 10 years ago or more. Right now, we do have several open positions on certain divisions of Public Works. Currently, we do have several managerial positions or higher positions open. I believe there are issues that need to be addressed out there. And before I promote or before we hire a Public Works director and fill some of those key management positions, I think it's important to do a very thorough, full evaluation of the Public Works Department. And that's certainly not detracting anything from Public Works staff or Public Works leadership, but I think the timing would be right now to do this if the city wanted to move forward with it.
So would this be to slim down Public Works, or?
There'd be no intent to slim it down. We would take a hard look at the organizational structure and management and look at our organizational chart, so to speak, and see is it the most efficient way that we could be doing business right now for the city of Dickinson.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. President,
Commissioner Murphy.
Mr. Dossinger, of all the city departments, Public Works largest division and employees, that includes.
Yeah, yes, I would say so. Yes.
And you mentioned openings. Is that where funding for this will come from? Salaries that have been not spent?
That is
budget
correct. There
items.
would not be a budgetary impact for this. To pay for this evaluation, we would utilize the salary that we're saving from open positions that haven't been filled.
Okay, thank you.
And obviously, not only just the size of the department, staffing wise, but they have the greatest expense as far as infrastructure that we're responsible in maintaining.
And I tend to agree with Mr. Dossinger when he said we probably needed to do this 10 years ago. We had a lot going on. We were trying to keep all the positions, a lot of infrastructure being built out, and now, not that we're not building more, we're adding 2 roundabouts in the whole West Business Loop and finishing up all the lead line service items. We just need to see if we can build some efficiencies out there before we move ahead with any further staffing, or so it'll be to your question, Commissioner Barrett, there's no intent of downsizing. It's just maybe we move some people around to build in efficiencies, cover down. So,
Mr. President, goes to my comment on, I think those of us that see what happens in the city Public Works from, the street departments and the sanitary sewer to the garbage collection, there's a lot going on. A lot of departments, I think this would be interesting to see what type of efficiencies and staffing are needed for that department. So I think it'll be an interesting endeavor.
with that, if there are no more questions or comments, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Frederick. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear, Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion carries. It is 5 o'clock. Let me look down here quick, see what we got going on. We have one public hearing this evening. It's Chapter 62, Personal and Commercial Vehicle Definitions. This will be presented by City Planner Burchek.
Good evening, Commissioners. Natalie Burchak, City Planner. So Community Development Staff is requesting approval of a zoning text amendment to Section 62-10 definitions, Section 62-471 accessory uses, and Section 62-594 parking of certain vehicles in Chapter 62 zoning of the Dickinson Municipal Code in order to update the definitions of personal, commercial, heavy, and recreational vehicles. And this proposed amendment also clarifies heavy vehicles cannot be parked or stored on residential lots. This zoning text amendment was previously heard in front of the City Commission at the February 17th City Commission meeting for a public hearing. It was tabled in order to get feedback from all commissioners, as there were a couple missing at that meeting. To go over the changes again, we are removing the heavy recreational definition that exists in the code now. It hasn't been used all that much. We're just lumping any recreational vehicles all together into one definition. We're clarifying heavy vehicles means any vehicle over 10,000 pounds gross empty weight. So this is the weight that they had and were determined at the time that the vehicle was made. It doesn't factor in any modifications, and it doesn't factor in what the current weight is. And then personal vehicles, we're clarifying, removing that requirement for trailers under 20 feet in length so that it's just trailers that constitute as personal vehicles. In Section 62-471 accessory uses, this just specifies for home-based business and home occupations, they cannot park or store heavy commercial vehicles. It's just heavy vehicles that cannot be parked or stored. Since heavy commercial vehicles is not a definition in our municipal code, we're clarifying that it's just heavy vehicles. And then in Section 62-594, parking of certain vehicles, again, we're clarifying in item 5, commercial vehicles and heavy vehicles shall not be parked on any lot within the residential zoning districts. We're removing that commercial vehicle definition from that item. Again, the commercial vehicle definition is pretty vague, and this item could cause any vehicle being used to get to and from work by a resident to no longer be able to be parked in residential. So we're just cleaning that up, clarifying that it's only heavy vehicles that we are trying to prevent from being parked or stored on residential lots. And with that, I will answer any questions that you guys may have. Staff recommends approval. There was one public comment at the previous City Commission meeting regarding particularly tractors being parked and used for snow removal in the residential zoning district. Beyond that, city staff has not received any phone calls or any letters from public residents, and I'm here to answer any feedback that you guys may have.
Thank you, Ms. Burchek. Any questions for City Planner Burchek before open up the public hearing?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Bear?
Ms. Burchak, when we talk about heavy vehicles, I'm thinking about, we're talking about semis, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm aware of residents that have semis that are part of that they use to tow their recreational vehicle. So would those semis not be allowed to be parked in front of their house?
So if the vehicle is a part of a recreational vehicle and can be incorporated into that recreational vehicle definition that we currently have in our municipal code, that is one way that it could be construed. But for the most part, if it's just a semi-cab, it would have to either be stored in a garage or in a screened area. It wouldn't be able to just be parked and left on a driveway.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Commissioner Murphy?
Ms. Burchak, so we're eliminating the recreational vehicle category?
We're eliminating heavy recreational vehicle. It just gets
So-
lumped into recreation.
When you look at like Class A motorhomes, those sorts of things, where does that draw the line of, is that a recreational vehicle allowed to be parked on the owner's property, or because it's meets that weight restriction? does that then deem it not allowed to be parked?
So it would be the weight restriction. So if it falls under that heavy vehicle definition of being over 10,000 pounds gross
Even though-
empty weight.
So do you feel that that's kind of an area where we need to look at it to where if it's a recreational vehicle of that, it's not commercial? I mean, I think that's where we might get some pushback on that with a Class A motorhome that is over that and a resident has provided for parking space on their property and now they're unable to park that there. Is that something that we need to maybe put in there, that it's a heavy vehicle, but it also is classed as a recreational vehicle?
If I may, I think the split is between heavy vehicles specifically called out and describing the 10,000 pound gross empty weight versus the recreational vehicles. So a motorhome would fall under the recreational vehicle based on the way I understand and the way that we were putting this together. I'm fairly certain that was what we were intending, but it talks about travel trailers, campers,
So-
those kind of things. So I don't think it would have I don't think that was ever the intent of including that into with weight restrictions.
So basically, mindless of the weight, it's still a recreational vehicle and it could be parked on the resident's property if it's a Class A motorhome.
Yeah, because it specifically calls out vehicles that are towed or self-propelled, and so in that case, a motorhome would definitely fall under a recreational
Yeah,
vehicle.
I just didn't know which goes first. Is it the weight restriction or the class? So the class would be, if it's recreational over the 10,000, it's allowed because it's recreational. That was my point, was are we looking at weight first or class of vehicle?
So at least the way that it's written, the heavy vehicle would be the one that would take precedence since there's no explicit
Heavy
call out that there's no recreational vehicle, or that recreational vehicles are not considered heavy vehicles. It does, like what Commissioner Bear had brought up, if we allow for that differential between recreational and heavy vehicle, that could lead to loopholes where people have semi-cabs that they sort of use to tow or control any recreational vehicles that they have and try to kind of slip that under as, oh, this is a recreational vehicle, even though it's over 10,000 pounds.
I can see that, but I think do we need to, because I know there's a lot of residents that have Class A motorhomes that park them on their lot. And I think that's where, I think we need to look at that to make sure. I can see if it's a separate tow vehicle, but such as a Class A type motorhome that strictly is not a tow vehicle but a recreational vehicle, that is deemed a recreational vehicle, not a heavy vehicle first.
Yeah, I think that could be just simply moved up in the text in the order in which it's described, so. Or maybe even adding a bit of text that specifically calls out no weight restriction or something along those lines.
Yeah, I would like to see that, or specifically, that those types of vehicles are just a note that they're deemed as recreational vehicles and not heavy vehicles.
Yeah, we can include a note in that heavy vehicle definition that this would exclude motor vehicle, or mobile home,
Class A
motor
type.
homes. I'm combining a bunch of words. Yeah, we can definitely include that.
Okay, since this was tabled last time, to add that definition, to amend it, can we vote on it tonight with the amendment?
I think that's
I'm
totally
going to
permissible.
listen to the other ones too, but just for right now, since we've had this concern.
Yes, and I think we could simply say something in the text under, recreational vehicle, something to the extent that a recreational vehicle as defined herein does not or excludes or is not deemed to be a heavy vehicle. Something to that effect, if I'm gathering what Commissioner
Correct.
Murphy is saying.
That's my concern was, is it a heavy vehicle first or a recreational vehicle? If it's a heavy vehicle, you can't, but if it's deemed a recreational vehicle, then we can.
Yeah.
So how are we looking at it?
So if we're looking at this, since the code explicitly says heavy vehicles would not be permitted in the residential zoning districts, correct me if I'm wrong, Christina, but then we would have to include something in the heavy vehicles definition specifically that says motor vehicle, or motor vehicle.
Recreational
Recreational vehicles are not classified as heavy vehicles, just to exclude them from that definition, since heavy vehicles are the ones explicitly called out by the code. But we can certainly add that language and then bring it forward, or as part of this public hearing, if that makes sense.
Any other comments or questions? The only thing that I guess, and I brought this up last time, is with the snow removal equipment. When individuals bring in a Bobcat, they bring in front end loader, it's temporary. They're gonna park it, they pre-position it. Happens all over town. People bring them in from their farms, they may bring them in from business, they position them. They're generally there for a day, maybe two. They do their work and then people move them out. I don't want somebody to be in code violation because they brought their skidster in and parked it beside their house, and then the neighbor, who they have had an on-running, dispute because he doesn't or she doesn't clean their driveway with the skidster, so now they're angry and they don't want, because that's how people can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would look for some kind of language too, that we're not having just pettiness over temporary storage of those types of vehicles.
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
does those type vehicle, they're not deemed vehicles, are they? Does this code cover that type of equipment?
Commissioner Murphy, the personal vehicles has a separate definition contained within that. If my memory serves me correctly, I don't believe a tractor falls under that. I guess the question would be is, do you want to allow it? And if so, for how long? I think it's one thing if you have a Bobcat in your front yard or on your side yard to clean snow, whether you have a giant tractor, and if it's going to sit there for 6 months. I think that's what we're trying to avoid. And again, I keep in mind that these are all complaint-based. These issues are generally complaint-based. So this has come up because of a complaint, and so we're trying to address it this way. But I don't think anybody from the city building department's going to be actively looking out for tractors during the wintertime. But we can certainly add something, or we can certainly exclude something if you desire to do so. But again, it's
If that's
complaint-based.
technically not a personal vehicle, then
Yeah, that's.
don't really have to add anything.
My question,
Mr. President, if I
Commissioner
may,
Rowe.
because if we don't designate a tractor, I mean, it's gonna fall under a heavy vehicle because the gross weight is above that 10,000 pounds. So I mean, I would look at not even changing from the 10 tons, 20,000 versus 10,000, for the definition of a heavy vehicle, simply because of tractors, because the amount of them that are around here and that do come to town.
I do think that that's going to hamper how this is enforced and how effective this is, because there are semi-cabs that are around 15,000.
Absolutely, yeah. You can get
So-
a day cab one that's gonna be close to 10.
Yeah.
I mean, if you buy an older one that has no emissions, no DEF, none of that stuff on there, you're gonna be 9,200 pounds. Even, if it's a stretched double axle, by the time you add a third axle, then you're above that. But, I mean, you're not gonna control them all. That's gonna be the thing.
True, but I think tractors would be more fitting for some kind of equipment definition as opposed to
Yeah.
raising the bar for all heavy vehicles, because then you're really not going to you're not going to make any change. You're going to have semi-cabs that are 15,000
Yes,
square feet.
I agree with you 100%. That's why I mentioned having a definition of a tractor there. Because otherwise, it's gonna fall under a heavy vehicle.
okay. We don't want commercial vehicles, heavy
Correct.
commercial vehicles in residential neighborhoods. Why do we even need a heavy vehicle definition? Why can't it just be commercial vehicles as anything exceeding 10,000 pounds in gross weight? That's used for business. That includes tractor cab trailers, End of story. No heavy vehicles at all. And we can put equipment. That wouldn't cover then bobcats, loaders. I mean, we are doing a lot of thinking on this. We don't want commercial heavy vehicles, like semi-trucks that parked in your driveway. So that's what we're trying to just get rid of heavy vehicles altogether, lump it into commercial vehicles that exceed 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight, and we're done. That would still allow for the F-550s and that people drive home that might have a welding box on the back that they drive back and forth to work.
Or-
Because it'd be under 10,000, so we'd still be covered.
Yeah, those are all good pieces of feedback, and we can definitely incorporate that. Taking that back and looking at just simply not including heavy vehicles at all, I guess we were looking at otherwise the vehicle definitions and century code and aligning with those and those kind of things. But yeah, that's something we could always do, so.
Yeah, my only concern was the definition of vehicle is what, and, you know, when you look at, is that include, you know,
Yeah.
is a tractor a vehicle, or is it
You
implement?
could
Or,
say
you know,
commercial vehicles that exceed 10,000
Yep.
pounds gross weight, meaning trucks, equipment, tractor cab units,
Yep.
trailers, ba-da-da-da-da, used in a commercial application, endeavor, or business. That covers everything. I don't care if somebody has a pickup that's 9,500 pounds that says Joe's Farm on the side,
I think it says
and it's
Real
parked in their
Farm.
driveway.
I think it says Real Farm.
But,
Yeah, I can agree with both of those, just by either eliminating, because I think we get in vagueness there where we're kind of deeming certain things what they may be or what they may not
nobody's
be.
driving a semi on the weekends for fun. I mean, they're used for commercial use, so.
But is a semi-cab towing a recreational vehicle, commercial vehicle?
That's a commercial vehicle.
Because you need a
it's-
commercial license.
Yeah. Because you're not exempt from a CDL pulling a recreational vehicle with if it's not an actual motorhome, then you're exempt.
Okay, so with all of those changes, would you rather it go back in front of P and Z since that's some significance, or just make all those changes and bring it back at the next city commission meeting?
We didn't really change much. Everything is fine, except we're gonna get rid of heavy vehicles, move it into commercial vehicles, and just add equipment. Commercial equipment. Commercial vehicles includes equipment, meaning trucks, tractors, cabs, trailers, and equipment exceeding 10,000 pounds of gross vehicle weight. That's the only change we're making.
So if somebody brings in a skid steer and puts it beside their house, then what? They're in violation? Under your definition?
The weight
Well, first of
was-
all, a skid steer in a trailer isn't gonna weigh 10,000 pounds unless you have a really big one.
Oh, you get a track machine, they will. They're real
A
close
track,
now.
I
Yeah.
mean, probably a
Yeah.
track, but well, I mean, if they sit it there, you know, for a year, I mean, maybe, then yeah, well, then we can cross that bridge when we get there. I mean, you can get a skid steer that you walk behind, or you can get a giant track one. I mean, you can't cover everything.
I get that. I just don't want staff, you know, chasing around saying, hey, that's a commercial vehicle sitting there. Somebody's got their front end loader sitting there, a small front end loader, right? You drive by the one strip mall in town, he has a small front end loader sitting there.
I mean, I guess that some common sense can play into this. If it's winter time and it's gonna be used for snow removal, there's a chance of snow, I think we can all agree that there's a common sense factor to this. Now, if he's got it sitting there for 365 days a year, then maybe we address it.
Commissioner Riddle, would you like to see that weight restriction moved? Is that what you?
I would, I mean, yeah, the weight restriction going up would be a huge help to cover all bases on here.
Would you split the difference on that and say 15 or
I mean, a guy
14?
could. I mean, it would help a lot of the bigger stuff, yeah.
Would it help instead to have a specific call out that a vehicle being used for snow removal or being used within like 3 days of a snow event instead of upping that weight limit so that we have teeth if they're on a property for 6 months?
Yeah, the only other thing that comes to mind is, I mean, you can buy these semis now that pull a horse trailer. And with the rodeo community that we have here and the traveling and stuff, I mean, you're gonna look at some of those that's still technically a heavy semi that has a very large sleeper on it that they're gonna use as a recreational vehicle for their rodeoing.
Are those getting parked on a residential lot though?
Well, it'd be on streets and stuff like that, so.
Because I don't think our municipal code currently really allows those in a residential area. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think we're looking to permit them within city limits.
Correct, I agree with you. And
So
that's why I'm bringing it up.
But then I think keeping it at 10,000 pounds would be more effective at keeping those out.
Then it goes back to what's recreational and what's commercial.
I mean, we're talking 10,000 pounds empty weight, right?
Yes.
So
We're not
the
weighing
actual
these
vehicle
vehicles.
weight, not the gross weight loaded.
Yep.
So we want that higher than 10,000? I mean, that pretty much would then include almost everything.
I would,
Correct.
yeah, I
mean-
would not support it being higher than 10,000.
I mean, if we go to 20 or 25,000 pounds, then we're bringing, then semis all of a sudden are gonna be pretty close to being included then. If we're going with empty weight, if we're going with loaded weight, that's different, but
In the intent of including specifically the gross empty weight was because that's something we can look up. We can do a search online and see what a specific make and model is, for example, and just be able to reconcile that without having to ask somebody to go through a scale or something like that. You know, that we're not trying to nitpick or anything like that.
I think I can agree with just Commissioner Friedrich's language of just lay it out there to include anything used for commercial over that amount.
Yeah, we can certainly make that change of just moving everything up to commercial vehicles and eliminating a heavy vehicle definition.
With the caveat that snow removal equipment can be stored temporarily.
I think that that's reasonable of having some caveat for snow removal, but any other large-scale equipment, I don't think we really want in a residential area in city limits.
yeah, we don't want a crane in somebody's backyard.
No, I'm just, I just want to cover people so they're not,
Right.
we're not getting complaints to buildings and codes because some guy got his skid steer pre-positioned.
I mean, most skid steers are under 10,000 pounds, but there are some big, the bigger track ones that I agree are over, but most of them are under 10,000, but.
Okay, so this would have to come back heavily edited to, Mrs. Glasscheck, you have written down the notes?
I have extensive notes.
Just don't let us try to read them. But this is a public hearing, so any more comments, commissioners? Not, like I said, it is a public hearing. Anybody wishes to come forward, please state your name, let us know your concerns, or provide additional comments to this ordinance.
Hello, Commission. Jeff Fitzik, Dickinson City resident. I spoke last time. This is mostly for the benefit of the guys who weren't here then, if you weren't able to watch the meeting. I appreciate Mr. Friedrich trying to cut through the extra wording and make this simple. That's what I proposed last time. Almost everything that everybody's voicing as a complaint here is already covered in city code elsewhere. You can't park a vehicle on the street for any more than 48 hours. You can take care of any big vehicles there right now. If somebody parks it on their lot and it's not on a pre-approved parking pad, you have a city ordinance for that. They have to leave it. You can't park it on the front lawn. So unless they've got the money to put in a parking pad and they park it on that, you've got control. If they leave it there for 6 months and the weeds grow up around it and it never moves and you consider it unsightly, you have ordinances for that, whether it's a car or a semi, both for the weeds and for the vehicle that's not moving. So again, all of this is just layering more regulation on top of regulation that's already there and apparently, for whatever reason, isn't working. So maybe a person should look at those laws, putting more teeth to them or simplifying them or eliminating those to bring in this new law in order to solve your problem. And as far as the complaint-driven thing goes, as I mentioned last time, that's inherently un-American in the first place. A law is there for everybody, not just for the person who's got a complaint. It should apply to everyone. That's how our justice system was designed to work, and we've apparently moved far past that. So I don't see that as a good way to enforce this just because somebody complains. As Mr. Decker rightly pointed out, some people are going to get into a gripe match and tattletale just because of that. That wastes the city resources following up on that, even if they use common sense and adjudicate it properly. It still takes time away, and then the people who are a real problem continue to be a real problem because apparently the other ordinances don't have teeth. So I urge you guys to reconsider this. It's private property. If you follow the city ordinances that are there already and park a semi on private property, on a driveway or on a parking pad, how is that different than a recreational vehicle? Especially a recreational vehicle that's no longer new and it's been through several North Dakota hailstorms. That's not pretty to look at, any more than a semi might be. And yet you're making a differentiation in that on somebody's private property versus the commercial semi. For what reason? They're about the same size. They take up the same space. They still cast shadow on the neighbor's property next door or whatever. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. I'll stand for questions.
Well, we're not changing any of the law. It's not allowed now.
Right.
We're just cleaning up the definition so it's easier to determine what is a recreational vehicle and what is a heavy vehicle and what is a commercial vehicle.
But
I mean, if you look at what we're proposing here, the only thing we're doing is cleaning up definitions. The laws aren't changing. All those vehicles are still not allowed in our code to be parked in residential. Recreational vehicles are, but commercial semis and stuff are not allowed now. Or tractors or nothing. They're not allowed now. It's just a definition change.
Then we've been allowing illegal stuff all along.
Yeah.
And the argument is, why not continue that? Because they're necessary in some instances. So why have the law prevent in the first place is if it was never enforced in the first place and most people benefit from that snow removal or whatever else?
It's complaint-based enforced, but yes, we do not drive around looking for them.
And complaint-based is, as I said, not a decent way to apply an even-handed law. That's my thoughts. So, anybody else have a question?
Anyone else, any questions for Mr. Fitzik? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So right now, just for clarification to everybody, this ordinance is just defining, we're not changing any rules. To many people's points tonight, we're just defining what this is. I do agree, we need to have better enforcement. We had a whole other meeting about this, having the ability to enforce a lot of the stuff that we have on the books the way it is, and sometimes how we're overextended in other areas, and then put some teeth to it. I'm satisfied with just changing the definition to what you want, commercial vehicles. But I do want it to be evenly applied so that we don't have, again, back to snow removal equipment, regardless of its size, it's loud, it's noisy. Some people might not see the benefit of it because their neighbor doesn't clean off their driveway or whatever. So I don't want this to turn into, you know, a gripe fest as it was put. So I guess for all our comments, Mr. Sklaszczyk, kind of break it down what you got for us for this amended ordinance.
Have you closed the public hearing?
I guess not. So, anyone else besides Mr. Fitzik? I know he was the only one last time. So, anyone else? Thank you for the reminder, Ms. Burchek.
Of course.
I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any further comments, requests on this before Mr. Sklaszczyk?
Mr. President, I guess just clarification, because I do have some friends that have semis that that specifically pull their RV, and they are a part of the package. So would they not be allowed to park that RV or that semi to pull their fifth wheel? I mean, these are not commercial trucks. These are actual recreational RV or trucks, semi-trucks that pull their trailers. So I just want some clarification. Where does that particular semi fall into? Or is that considered commercial, will not be there, or they will be able to?
That's a commercial truck that they're hooking up to their fifth wheel.
Even though it is made to be a commercial semi?
How is it made?
I mean, a recreational semi.
Does it exceed 10,000 pounds?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming it's a large truck.
Well, and do they need a commercial license to drive it?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Well, then it's a commercial truck. Then it would, yes, it would be excluded. I mean, I'm trying to envision what it is. Is it like a Freightliner chassis cab, and is it a 6 series or 7 series truck or an 8 series truck that they're pulling their fifth wheel with? I mean, because some of those aren't over 10,000. Right?
Anything with DEF will have to be over 10,000. DEF recirc filter, anything like that, be over 10,000 no matter what. Day cab, sleeper, not, ain't gonna matter.
Well, like you see these big quad cabbed, or you had, the quad door semis that they use to pull those big snowmobile trailers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a commercial vehicle?
Right, that's kind of what I was asking about, pulling a horse trailer in town too.
Right.
Yeah. Be the same principle.
So I guess, again, going back to what we had spoke about earlier, on the commercial vehicle definition, and if you include the 10,000 pound gross empty weight, that would be the clarifier. Is it going to exceed that or not? In particular, if it's exceeding that limit, and depending upon exactly what class it's rated for, and some of those kind of things, that would be the definition of whether or not it's commercial. So without having any additional information, I can't necessarily make an immediate determination of that, but that is, based on what some of the description has been, I would say those are probably falling under that commercial class.
And I do think you get into a little bit of a sticky situation if you're regulating what exactly is being towed, because that does open it up to a lot of loopholes where you might have somebody just attach like a tiny motor home to the back of their semi-cab and say, now it's a recreational semi-cab. And I think that kind of, again, leads it to not being a very effective ordinance if you have that kind of loophole sort of built in.
So ultimately, I guess to go back and describe just kind of what we're talking about here, and what intended changes we'd be presenting in the future, we'd look at taking out the heavy vehicle portion and not even including that because that isn't necessarily what we've been focusing on. But ultimately defining those commercial vehicles as something over 10,000 pound gross empty weight, using the same terminology that's at the top of the page as it is right now. And then making sure that there's a disclaimer that that 10,000 gross empty weight does not limit or preclude or associate with the recreational vehicle definition as is at the bottom of the page. And then we'll look at information related to potential allowable temporary use of snow removal related equipment.
And additionally, it would lead to, for section 62-471 and 594, that would be flipped, so that instead it explicitly says commercial vehicles shall not be parked on any of the residential lots instead of heavy vehicles, if we're using a commercial vehicle definition instead of heavy vehicle, just to clarify. The meaning would be the same, but the language would change.
Point of order, or can I ask for the public to be open to the meeting? Sorry, apologize.
You can come forward.
Matthew Rosta in Dickinson, a resident. Correct me if I'm wrong, commercial for the state of North Dakota is 26,001. Now you're reducing the weight.
That's the loaded weight, though. Anything, that's the loaded weight. This is the empty weight.
So what are you going to use?
This is the actual vehicle weight, not the
Are you
26.
gonna use the GVWR for each vehicle or the tractor and or the trailer for the weight? And then if you allow, because we have a lot of oil field that are using vehicles that are over 10,001 pound.
So if I may, again, the definition is explicitly saying that it's gross empty weight, so any modifications are not included in that weight. So if you've got an oil vehicle that has a generator, has something constructed in the back, that would still be considered, as long as the base vehicle is like 9,000 pounds, that would still be considered as a personal vehicle, not as a commercial vehicle.
That'll cover your F-550s, F-650s without any boxes on them. Due to the standard, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, 26,000 is loaded weight for a CDL, so.
Yeah, this is just empty weight, so this is not factoring in what's inside. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions for city staff? Are we satisfied with the amended definitions as presented by staff?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Murphy?
I think I'd like to see it in text form, I guess. Just,
I don't, well, since we tabled this, I don't think we have to vote on it. So we're either voting it up or down.
Well, it takes 2 approvals, so we can vote it and then see it in text form, and then we can deny it next meeting.
Second
Yeah, it
reading.
would be brought back
Yeah.
one more time.
So,
If we're not happy with the second reading with the text amendments, we could strike it.
I mean, I can make the motion since I've been, if you want, on how it should read. I think it should read, and then we can go from there, but.
If there's no further comments, then I would look for that motion.
Okay, I will make the motion to strike heavy vehicles from the definitions and to add to commercial vehicles any, means trucks, tractor cab, units, trailers, and equipment exceeding 10,000 pounds empty weight used in any way as a part of any commercial application, endeavor, or business. Those changes would be my motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Frederick, amended motion to this ordinance, which is 1849.
Would you also change the language on the other ones from heavy to commercial?
Yeah, yeah, we would make those changes in the, we'd just remove anywhere that heavy vehicles is, I'll amend that, anything where heavy vehicles is referenced in the rest of the ordinance.
And the recreational disclaimer, I think, that Mr. Sklacek alluded to.
Well, but they wouldn't be considered commercial vehicles.
So it doesn't
But
have
the-
to be in the
Because
definition.
it's not being used for a commercial purpose.
Well, that's what I was
So
saying,
then it
with the
wouldn't.
weight
Yeah, so
Yeah.
based on what he's proposed, it would already fall out of it because it's
Yeah,
not a commercial
for commercial.
purpose.
All right, then I'd look for a second to this amended ordinance.
I'll second.
We have a second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion, comments, or questions? We'll go ahead and vote on the amended ordinance 1849. Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
I'm going to vote no, not because I disagree with the definition, but because when I looked it up, like a Freightliner with a sports chassis with a ranch hauler that would be used for recreation would fall under as a commercial vehicle versus recreation. So I'm voting no.
Mr. Riddle.
No.
Chair votes aye, and will reserve my no for the amended text. So,
Thank you.
motion carries. Okay, let me get back to where we were here. Think we are at Mrs. Winko, findings and facts, conclusion and order regarding demolition of 45 7th Avenue West.
Thank you, Mr. President and Commissioners. On Tuesday, February 17th, the board met to hear evidence regarding the structure located at 45 7th Avenue West here in Dickinson, specifically whether the structure, excuse me, located on the property should be demolished pursuant to the Dickens Municipal Code. The city asserted through evidence presented at the hearing that the property is a dangerous building and must be demolished. The property owner was not present at that hearing. No representative on behalf of the mortgagee was also present at that hearing. At that time, this board found the structure located on the property to be a dangerous structure and requested that the property be demolished pursuant to Section 814, Section 8185, and Section 8186 of the Dickens Municipal Code. Pursuant to city requirements, you are required to issue said findings of your particular decision from the special meeting. In front of you or included in your packet are the proposed findings set forth based on the evidence presented at the hearing. I would recommend approval, and just as by way of city code, just a reminder to the commission and to the public, the property owner does have 30 days from the date of the approval of those findings to appeal to the district court should they desire to do so. I would stand for any questions and would recommend approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Winko. Any questions for Mrs. Winko or city staff on the findings of this demolition, this property for demolition? So I'd look for a motion on the findings of fact and conclusion and order regarding demolition of 45 7th Avenue West.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Up next, we have our 2025 year-end unaudited financial report. This will be presented by Deputy City Administrator Carlson.
Thank you, President Decker and Commissioners, and this is a report only. So for year-end general fund budget, this is year-end 2025. What we have in general fund here is what was actually budgeted by ordinance was 27 million. We actually expended 113,573. So we expended 95% according from actuals to budget. Here, this is very small, I know, but this is all of our general fund departments. And you can see that the ones that are in red are ones that went over their budgeted budget ordinance in that. And so I just wanted to give that and see, so to show you where we were at. With the total of that, the actual total comes out again at the 95% of what the general fund. Our general fund revenue versus expenses. So as Katie has been giving the financial report, you know that our revenues were down and stuff. So bringing in revenues for 2025 in the general fund, that's all of our sales tax and our fines, fees, and everything else that we have, permitting and everything. Our revenues came in at 25 million. Again, our expense was 26 million. So we were below in far as our revenues. We were above in our expenses. And this is covered by our general fund cash that we approved at the budget time to use cash to cover any expenses that were over and above what our revenues brought in. Now to go to the enterprise fund budget. This is all of our utilities, and you can see where we're at on that. So water distribution, it shows 100% because when you figure it, it does because it's such a low amount, 22,000. It was a little bit over. Stormwater, there was the reason that one is so much over on their budget is due to there was the drainage project that went through the storm budget that was unexpected, but we used cash of their reserves to supplement that. But just to show the budget to the actual expenses, this is what this report is showing you. Our enterprise funds revenues now that were brought in for our utilities, you can see that the revenues over the expenses, and then even with stormwater, they were only short by $5,000 because of the revenues that were brought in. So these are the other funds that we have. This is our special revenue funds that has our sales tax in there, our EMS is in there, oil impact, and then we have our debt service funds, which is the capital leases that we have for all the budgets that we have, and then our WRCC bond, which was paid this year, or in 25, I should say, as of September. So that was that portion of it. And then we have what's called other funds, which is an interest revenue that supports all funds, and then our fleet services, which supports all funds and stuff. I just wanted to make a comment on the WRCC bond. It shows that the budget was $2 million and our actual being $2,363,000. The reason is due to the end of the interest per day, and then that's how it is. They always amortize it. We budgeted what the amortization was, but then the final payment was paid. So that's just the difference on that part of it. So with all funds together, that's including our general fund, all of our enterprise funds, all of our special revenue funds and everything, with ordinances against the actuals, we were lower than what we were actually budgeted by 96% is what was actually expended. So then with revenues against the expenses, you can see that our revenues came in at 96 million. Our continued expenses for all were 103 million. So we were over on that. If you have any questions concerning this, and also in your packet you have a schedule of fund activity in there as of the end of year, where we started from January 1 of 25 to ending of 12/31 of 25, but it was so small to put onto the screen that I just put it in your packet. But if you have any questions on that either.
Thank you, Mrs. Carlson. Are there any questions for Mrs. Carlson on the unaudited? Let me read it correctly here. The 2025 year-end unaudited financial report. Any questions for her or city staff? Again, we need to approve this unaudited
Nope.
financial report.
President Decker, there is no
Okay.
approving of it. It's
Okay.
just a report only because it's unaudited.
Okay.
The next one we have to approve.
Yeah, the next one, the year-end encumbrances. Thank you. Any questions on the report? We'll move on to the year-end encumbrances and amendments. This is the resolution 10-2026. Mrs. Carlson?
Okay, thank you, President Decker and Commissioners. So these are the 2025 amendments and encumbrances. And for the public, this is to present to the commission if we need to move money from our reserves to supplement what we've already approved in the budget for 2025 over and above. That's what amendments are for. Encumbrances are money that has been dedicated in the 2025 budget for a project or services, goods and services that have not been completed in 2025 but need to be completed in 2026. So they could be that there was a contract that says we wanted to do it this fall, we got an early winter, we couldn't finish it, so we're going to do in 2025. So with each one of these, I would go by departments. We've discussed it with departments and everything. What I look at is, do they have the money in the line number that it's associated to, and do they have the vendor that's already established? Those are the two criteria that have to be met to be able to move forward with an encumbrance. So with that, so 2025 amendments to the budget, there is no amendments to the budget at all. We actually did really well with our using our cash. We had in general fund, we had set aside about $480,000 to use out of cash, and then if you saw in the report before, we used $243,000 just to supplement. So we were within the means. So for our first encumbrance, animal control, this would be coming out of the buildings and structures. The encumbered amount is $18,000, and the reason is for a roof project for animal shelter. Buildings and codes, under the line of contracted labor, the encumbered amount is $12,700. And the reason is for property demo projects processed in 2025 but slated for demolition in 2026. Finance, professional services and audit, the encumbered amount is $20,000, and reason is for 2023 audit report finishing in 2026. Forestry, under contracted labor, the encumbered amount is $20,000, and then under trees and flowers line number, the encumbered amount is $24,000. Reason is for downtown beautification, including tree grate fillers, flowers, medians, and etc. This was contracted, they started, never finished. Human resources, the contracted labor, the encumbered amount is $2,800. Reason is for unfinished contract with High Roads Partners that they have contracted with. They have $2,800. They used part of their money already, but this is the amount that is still left. Museum for paleo exhibits, encumbered amount is $13,000. Reason was for dino exhibit cases. Then for their field work, encumbered amount is $9,800. And under the collection equipment and supplies, the encumbered amount is $8,500, and that is for 2 abrasive units for the paleo lab. They couldn't get that to come into 2025 due to the fact that they still need to, they were still making or whatever they were doing, but they did not receive that yet. Under police, buildings and structures, the encumbered amount is $3,415, and that is to complete the Wall of Honor project started in 2025. Wastewater or sewer, improvements other than buildings, the encumbered amount is $155,000. Reason is for the completion of the 2025 SCADA software project. This is a project that was just started, and then they're finishing up the rest of the software project. And they have that money in that line to finish that. And I stand for any questions you may have, and I'm looking for an approval of a resolution for the encumbrances presented.
Thank you, Mrs. Carlson. Any questions for Mrs. Carlson or staff on the year-end encumbrances and amendments? Not, this is Resolution 10-2026. Look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Move on to Public Works. We have an introduction this evening. Interim Public Works Director Waldo, you have a new person.
Yeah. Good evening, Mr. President and Commissioners. You can come up here, sir. After feels like a long time that we've been searching, I'm pleased to introduce our new Water Reclamation Facility Manager, Brett Christensen. Brett brings 20 years of leadership experience to our team, mostly in the energy sector. Brett also brings with him extensive knowledge in the creation and execution of preventative maintenance plans, project coordination, and mechanical systems. I'm excited to work with Brett and the rest of the team at the Water Reclamation Facility to ensure sustainability and the continuity of those operations well into the future. So with that, I'll let Brett say anything he'd like to.
Yeah, I had a big, long speech, but I'm just going to say thank you for the opportunity to do the wastewater reclamation facility director position, and it is appreciated.
All right, well, welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night
now. Mr. Waldo, you have a couple of contracts and agreements.
I have some items for you this evening. First, for your consideration, Commissioners, I have a series of agreements with Nova Fire Protection. These are a series of one-year agreements between Nova Fire Protection Incorporated and the City of Dickinson to provide inspection and testing services for the fire sprinkler systems, including backflow preventer testing for City Hall, the Public Works Facility, the Public Safety Center, the Baylor Building, the Library, and the Public Transit Building. The City of Dickinson has utilized Nova Fire Protection for inspection and maintenance services for several years for these systems, and they have consistently met our expectations for quality of service, communication, and timeliness. In aggregate, the cost of these agreements is $4,605 for the 2026 calendar year. The agreements have been reviewed by the City Attorney, and Public Works staff recommends approval of these agreements.
Thank you, Mr. Waldo. Any questions on this Nova Fire Protection Services agreement? Not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Mr. Waldo, you have a landfill scale rental agreement.
For your consideration, good evening again, Mr. President and Commissioners. For your consideration this evening is an agreement with Fisher Industries for the rental of a truck scale to be utilized through this construction season at the landfill. The primary use of this scale will be to support CIP projects throughout Dickinson, primarily outgoing aggregate and incoming spoils and waste material. Moving all construction-related traffic directly through the landfill will help to ease traffic congestion at the Baylor Building during their expansion and allow for a reduction in downtime and related costs for associated projects. The portable scale is compatible with our current scale software and is not anticipated to interfere with normal municipal solid waste or MSW traffic at the landfill. The cost of this rental is $7,500 per month, with the option to apply 85% of the paid rental costs toward the purchase price of $265,000 for that scale if the city chooses to pursue purchasing that scale in the future. The agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney, and Public Works staff recommends approval and rental of this scale.
Thank you, Mr. Waldo. Any questions on the landfill scale rental agreement? Now I look for a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Not. We'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Mr. Waldo, you have a hazardous tree removal.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. President and Commissioners. The attached resolution will allow residents to have trees removed that are deemed hazardous by the city forester and voluntarily special assess that cost against the improved parcel. These voluntary special assessments are over a 10-year period. The city forester may assist homeowners with hazardous tree removal and other services upon request. This resolution has been reviewed by the city attorney, and Public Works staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Waldo. Any questions on Resolution 11-2026, the hazardous tree removal assessments? If the property owner volunteers, they can have this done. Any questions? Again, this is 11-2026. If there are no questions, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Frederick. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Mr. Waldo, will you have a roll-off truck bid award?
Yes. The next item I have for you this evening, Mr. President and Commissioners, is a bid award for a roll-off truck. A bid opening was conducted at 10:30 a.m. on Monday, 23 February, for a new roll-off truck to be added into the city fleet for use by our solid waste division. This equipment purchase was budgeted for $300,000 on a 5-year lease with annual payments of $60,000. Due to the versatility of roll-off trucks, there is no trade-in included with this purchase. The old truck will be put into service for other divisions around Public Works and kept on standby as a backup to reduce downtime in the event of mechanical problems with any of the other units. Use by other divisions is much less constant than it is with solid waste, so the old truck should get another 5 to 10 years of useful service life in the fleet. After internal review of bid documents, Public Works staff's recommendation is to purchase the 2027 Freightliner 114 SD with the Galbraith hoist as bid by Wesley Truck Center for a total cost of $236,080. And I have included the bid, a summary of the bid documents in your packets.
Thank you, Mr. Waldo. Any questions on roll-off truck bid? This is a bid award, so if there are no questions, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. And Mr. Waldo, you have a farmland lease renewal.
Yes. Good evening, one last time, Mr. President and Commissioners. I promise this is the last item I have for you this evening. For your consideration is an agreement between the City of Dickinson and Randy Hondel to lease a portion of property within the following description for farming purposes. That is the northwest quarter of Section 16, Township 139 North, Range 96 West in Stark County, comprising of approximately 111 acres. The annual rent for this property is $40 an acre, so a total of $4,440 for the term of 1 year, effective February 10, 2026, that should be, excuse me. The landlord reserves the right to cancel, terminate, or modify this lease at any time during the term hereof, if in the judgment of the Board of City Commissioners of the City of Dickinson, the leased premises or a portion thereof are needed or required for municipal or other public purposes. The text of this agreement is identical to that of last year's lease, and Public Works staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Waldo. Any questions on this land lease? Now I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle.
I'm going to abstain since I know Mr. Hondel.
Well, I'm not, he's my cousin, and I'm not going to
Oh,
abstain.
okay.
So
Then aye. That'll work. Then aye.
Okay. Chair votes aye. I don't think he's putting money in either one of our pockets anytime soon.
No.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good night.
Thank you.
No. Then again, I'm related to about 75% of you, so I'd have to abstain a lot. All right, we'll move into public safety, fire, EMS update. Welcome, Chief Presnell.
Thank you, President Decker and Commissioners. First off, I want to thank you for the patience in regards to some of this data. As you can suspect, it was a lot of work to start an ambulance service. We were a little more focused on the operational side, and we were able to kind of start compiling the numbers and get you guys some data to look at, so thank you for that. Here's just a breakdown of what the budgets look like. We budgeted for a full year in 2024, and we didn't purchase a lot of equipment, and that kind of got carried over into 2025. So that's where we see that red that came over. It wasn't spent the previous year, so it did get carried over and spent. Looking into 2020, or looking at our revenues for 2025, this report was pulled at the end of 2025, so it's changed a little bit in terms of the actual revenue we've received because of the billing cycles when we receive the money from the insurance companies. But at that point, we did bring in about $547,000. We're conservatively projecting that we'll bring in about $1.624 million for 2026. We feel pretty comfortable with that number. Just a couple of things I want to hit. We did bring in $63,000 in addition to that in direct billing. So that's going to be billing the jail for responses, any event standbys, and some of the flight services when we pick up the flight crew and bring them to the hospital and the patient back out to the flight crew. So those are direct billed from us. We send out the bill. And we also brought in approximately $20,000 in EMS education. So holding different classes, CPR courses for the community, for other providers, as well as EMT courses that we did hold throughout the year. And then we did receive an additional $117,000 in grant funding that we put in for to purchase firefighter gear for the EMS personnel that we brought on, as well as some reimbursement from the state for education. So for every EMT that we train, once they get licensed and they stay in North Dakota, we're eligible to apply to the state for a grant where they cover up to 90% of that cost. I believe it was $1,200 per EMT, and $10,000 for a paramedic. So we did receive some reimbursement for a paramedic that finished while she was employed with us. That did get given back to her because she paid for it out of pocket, but it did show up in that. We are currently holding a advanced EMT course. We have 20 plus people, firefighters in that course. We will be able to submit to the state for about 95% reimbursement. So it's about, I don't know, $1,700 we'll get back from the state once they get licensed, and since they are staying in the state. Here's kind of our revenue trends. Over the last 6 months, we've continually increased. The columns in red are months that we are still receiving revenue from billing. We have about a 3-month, consistently a 3-month payment schedule with the insurance companies, but we are still receiving payments for calls that were billed out in July, so that continually is coming up. Hopefully, as we kind of start get going, we'll have our relationships with some of these insurance companies to where they're going to pay a little quicker, because for every new insurance company that we bill, we have to set up an account with, and it's quite the process which can delay billing. So obviously in the first 6 months, every insurance we billed was a new insurance. So we should see that to start stabilizing, getting more consistent with like a 30 to 90 day billing cycle. So a breakdown of where our fees are coming from. It's a breakdown between just a base charge and mileage. Our mileage is a lot bigger than what you would expect from just 911 calls, because we do a lot of interfacility transfers from Dickinson to Bismarck. So we do charge out a lot of mileage, but we're averaging about $673 per call we go on, averaged out across all of them. Just a breakdown of payer mix. We're sitting pretty high with our government insurances, Medicaid, Medicare, which they've kind of set their own prices. So when we send a bill, they're only going to pay so much. We have to subtract the contractuals, and they pay what they pay. There's not a lot of negotiating. I will say with a lot of the governmental insurances, they're very picky about the documentation, and we are doing very well making sure our documentation, so we're seeing a pretty decent collection rate. A lot of that is offset by our private insurance or our commercial insurances. They kind of make up that difference that we lose in Medicaid. So we got a pretty balanced mix there. I would say the one threat we do have is self-pay is a little high, but it's not any concern at this point. Some of that is from when we send a bill out. If we don't have the updated insurance information, it gets sent to the patient with a big note saying, send us your insurance information and we'll bill your insurance company. So we have seen that come down. In the very beginning, we saw a significantly higher self-pay, which was very concerning in the beginning until we kind of figured out what was going on. It's just when we drop a patient off at the hospital, we don't always get up-to-date insurance information off the face sheet, so it's kind of getting worked out now. Here's some of our collection trends. As you can see, the first 3 months that we were in operation, we're sitting pretty good in collections. We're in that 70 range. If you can recall from the previous ambulance service, they were in the 50% collection range. We're in the 70s, which is really good. And we suspect, as time goes on, we'll start to see the November, the December start to come up as well. But overall, we're sitting pretty good. Last commission meeting, I did present on the fire and EMS together for calls, but I decided to break this down just based on EMS calls. So we're seeing pretty consistent call volume over the months. So the 2026 has started out a little rough in terms of a significant increase in calls, especially looking at today. We have 7 interfacility transfers just in a 24-hour period. So we are seeing an increased call volume. For EMS specifically, Mondays and Tuesdays are our busiest days. Not really sure why, but those are our busiest days. Haven't looked that deep into the data. Specific to just EMS, our response times, our shoot times, a minute 27, that's really good. We are definitely under the industry standard of about that minute 30 to get out the door. That's from the time that we're notified of the call and out the door. And then our response time, that 6:18, is below the national standard of 8 minutes. So that's once we get the call and we arrive on scene, so we're getting there quick. here's kind of a breakdown of what we're spending on call, on the different types of calls. So an average of 43 minutes on an EMS call, and then obviously for an interfacility transfer to Bismarck, it takes up about 4 hours of our time round trip. So those take up a lot of time, a lot of unit utilization. We did transport around 1,233 patients and about 323 interfacility transfers. One thing that I will point out is we've got a lot of big things coming. I'm proud to announce, I got to say it this morning at the county commission meeting, but we did partner with DSU to bring in a new program to Dickinson. Just like we did with fire, we're not going to sit around and wait for somebody else to fix our problem in terms of recruitment and having people available to fill these openings. And we will be kicking off a paramedic program in August at DSU. So that'll be really helpful to kind of get some paramedics. There's a massive shortage across the United States and in North Dakota. So just to clarify, all of our DSU stuff, they pay the instructor costs. We're just utilizing equipment, utilizing some of our resources to help that, and it's our instructors teaching this stuff. So both fire and EMS, but they do pay for all of our instructor wages. So that'll be really big. And the EMS program will be the first bachelor's program in North Dakota and in a larger area than that. So we're really excited to kick that off, and then I can answer any questions that you guys have.
Well, that's some really good news and exciting news, and have a great partner there at DSU. So with a lot of things in our emergency services and other things that they're helping out at the CTE and DPS. So we got a great community involvement here from all the players, and really appreciate what your staff does. Keeping on top of this, keeping ready, and hearing a lot of good things about you guys. So that's good. Any other comments? Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
So,
Chief.
thank you. Let's take a short 5-minute break, and then we'll be back. I'll call the regular meeting back to order. We'll begin in community development, or chapter 62 rezoning notice by petition. This will be presented by City Planner Burchek.
Good evening, Commissioners. Natalie Burchek, City Planner. So Community Development staff is requesting approval of a zoning text amendment to Section 62-56 Amendment Procedures in Chapter 62 Zoning of the Dickinson Municipal Code in order to remove the requirement placed on any rezoning and special use permit applicants to notify their adjacent property owners through a petition signature collection. This amendment also clarifies the specific procedure that the city utilizes in order to notice any adjacent property owners of public hearings coming up. This was previously heard at the last City Commission meeting. No changes have been made since that meeting. Again, it just removes that as determined by the city in order to clarify publication and notification by mail are both notification processes the city has to do, and then removes that notification by petition where the applicant was required to collect the signatures of every adjacent property owner within 200 feet, indicating approval of a proposed rezone. So that is being removed as that was prohibitively difficult to achieve by any developer and can hold up development significantly. As of now, staff has not received any public comments regarding this ordinance. I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have, and staff would recommend approval of this amendment.
Thank you, Ms. Burchek. This is ordinance 1848. Do you have any questions for Ms. Burchek or city staff on this rezoning notice by petition amendment? Hearing no questions or comments, I'd ask for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
A motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Ms. Burchek, you have the Gate City Plans Dickinson Revitalization Program Annual Renewal.
Thank you, Commissioners. Natalie Burchek, City Planner. So in 2025, Gate City Bank partnered with the City of Dickinson in order to establish the Dickinson Revitalization Program, which was designed to assist homeowners pursuing major or minor home renovations through offering low-interest loans. During last year, the city saw a total of 6 applicants utilize this program and utilized it for approximately $220,800 in total of the allotted $1 million put aside by Gate City Bank. Through discussions with some representatives from Gate City Bank, the Gate City Bank has approved the City of Dickinson for another $1 million available to residents applying for loans through the Dickinson Revitalization Program in 2026. And just like last year, this program is available on a first-come, first-served basis. Applications, as they worked last year, they'll be available on the City of Dickinson's website and can be submitted either by mail or electronically. They'll come through either the city planner or the engineering assistant's office just for verification before being sent off to Gate City Bank for their approval. And then this program will start accepting applications on March 16th, so that's in about 2 weeks. And residents are able to apply until October 31st. And with that, I'll take any questions regarding this program.
Thank you, Ms. Burchek. Any questions on this revitalization program and our approval of the renewal to be a participant? If there are no questions or comments, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Murphy,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have East Water Tank Bid Award. Senior Engineer Keller will be presenting.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, for your consideration is a notice of award to McGuire Iron for the removal and recoating of the inside of the east water tank. McGuire submitted a bid of $175,000 for the project as designed and specified. This is $152,000 below the engineer's estimate. We got 5 bids for the project, which is a nice surprise for us. The next step of this project is a contract development, which will be brought to the commission after engineering and legal review. This notice of award was reviewed by the city attorney. This project will be funded by the gross production tax as of now, and the city engineering staff recommends approval of this notice.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Any questions on this notice of award? If there are no questions on this notice of award for the East Water Tank bid, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have various transportation subject project contract to SRF Consulting, like the various. This will be presented by Engineering Community Development Director Skloschek.
Good evening, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is a task order with SRF Consulting Group Incorporated to perform engineering services for the City of Dickinson project number 2026-15, various roads, roadway structures project for a time and materials as specified in the contract of $39,210.68. This contract is in reference to a proposal received through a request for proposal where 3 individual proposals were received. SRF scored the highest score based on their proposal submittal. City attorney has reviewed the contract, has no comments. Scope of work included in this contract is to do a field assessment of each bridge site and do data collection, prepare a preliminary concept memo, which includes repair recommendations, cost estimates for each site, and then ultimately do a future phasing anticipated for each individual site. This is a phased approach to this project, so we do anticipate coming back with a contract amendment once we do get the SRF teams, once we get their team out and do a review of each individual site. Project was included in the 2026 capital improvement project budget using gross production tax, and city engineering and public works staff recommend approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skolacek. Any questions on this SRF engineering contract?
Mr. President. Mr. Skolacek, I see some of these dates on here. Is this the first time we've actually started looking at some of these structures?
Commissioner Murphy, so the individual structures are inspected every other year, but in particular, as far as any repairs or anything like that, I don't have documentation to support when the last time some repairs were done on these structures. So we did do some digging in this area, and this was something that was also included in our transportation master plan as an area of improvement.
So this is something that we're going to start tracking and rating these structures to when they need to be repaired. And
as far as tracking, so they were being inspected every other year, but as far as taking action from the inspections and then performing some of the work, that's what we're working towards right now. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for city staff? Not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Bear.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Mr. Skolacek, you have the 5th Street Southeast NDDOT bid award.
Good evening again, Mr. President and Commissioners. For your consideration is a bid agreement with the North Dakota Department of Transportation for the project, city project number 2024-17, which is 5th Street Southeast from South Main to 6th Avenue Southeast. Project total bid as specified in the agreement is $1,888,035.10. The city attorney has reviewed this amendment with no comments. Project bid opening occurred on Friday, February 6, 2026, and it was administered through the North Dakota DOT bidding process, where a total of 3 bids were received. BEK Consulting LLC was the low bid and was approximately 7% under the engineer's estimate for the project. Scope of work included with this project is a mill and overlay of the existing pavement from South Main to the end of the existing pavement near River Drive. Then from there, the street will be extended from the existing end of the pavement to 6th Avenue Southeast, where a new intersection will be constructed. Sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water main will all be included through the extension area, and city engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skolacek. Any questions on this bid award? There are none. I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Mr. Skolacek, we have the grant award for this project.
Good evening again, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is an agreement, cost share agreement with the North Dakota Department of Water Resources, which was approved by the State Water Commission at the February 12th, 2026 meeting. One of the scopes of work associated with the project is to extend the water main approximately 670 feet to loop the system from the existing water main that's in 6th Avenue Southeast to the existing water main in 5th Street Southeast. municipal water supply cost share maximum is 60% through the DWR, and 40% of all remaining costs are the city of Dickinson's responsibility. Based on this agreement, the grant not to exceed amount is $198,780. Both construction and construction engineering are eligible cost share items. City attorney has reviewed the agreement with no comments. City engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skolachik. Any questions on this grant award? If not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We have a resolution for sanitary sewer and water service voluntary special assessments. This will be presented by Engineer and Community Development Director Skolachik.
Good evening, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is a resolution for the 2026 Sanitary Sewer and Water Service Special Improvement District. This resolution is to create a sanitary sewer and water service special improvement district for the city of Dickinson to authorize the improvements and assessments as a voluntary funding option to all citizens. The SID is payable over a 10-year period of time at an interest rate of 4.1%, which is the standard rate we've been using for all SIDs in 2026. Special assessments paid in full by October 1st, 2026 will not be charged interest or penalty and will not be levied for payment on their special assessments. This mechanism will allow citizens to make improvements to their sanitary, sewer, and water services through a special voluntary process of special assessment. And let's see, this resolution will also create legal authority for the city of Dickinson to assess the cost for the sanitary, sewer, and water services for their properties within the city of Dickinson pursuant to North Dakota Century Code Section 40-31 and the City of Dickinson Municipal Code Chapter 48. This is a voluntary program, and no property owner is required to participate in this district, and these improvements to sanitary, sewer, and water services are only limited to developed properties. Property owners engaging in new construction of like a new home will not be eligible to participate in the special assessment district. This will be eligible throughout the construction season of 2026. In prior years, we started doing the sanitary sewer service special assessment opportunity. We ran into a situation last year where a water service needed to be replaced and then it wasn't covered, so we had to come with a special resolution. So we're bundling these under one and getting the job done. And so with that, engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skolachik. Any questions or comments on this sanitary, sewer, and water service voluntary special assessment program?
Have we had a lot of people take advantage of this?
I think in 2024 we had 3 or 4. In 2025, I think we only had that one water service, if I recall correctly. We are working in some older areas of town in 2026, so I anticipate there will be some utilization.
So is this only in areas we're doing construction projects, or is it throughout the city?
Throughout
if
the
I find
city.
out I've got tree roots in my sewer and I need to replace it, I could use this program anywhere?
Correct. Correct. The only stipulation is just, in the case of if you're building a brand new house.
Right.
we're not-
I'm talking an existing home.
Yep.
If I have tree roots or an old clay tile sewer system that's broke or.
Correct. Yeah, specifically the water service that was installed late last fall, that was not associated at all with any project or anything like that, so.
If it can be lined, would they be able to utilize this program?
I need to look back on the lining topic. It's currently not in our city standard specifications, but we have allowed that, I think, under certain circumstances, so.
It's becoming very popular.
Yeah, it's something that we need to add into our specs.
Because you don't have to dig up your whole yard, so.
Yep.
All right.
Not in all circumstances is that applicable, but in many
Right.
it is, so.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions? This is Resolution 12-2026. There are no more comments or questions. I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Riddle,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We'll go to the MSA update with KLJ Engineering. Mr. Skocic.
Good evening again, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is a Master Service Agreement, or MSA, with KLJ Engineering LLC, utilizing the Engineers Joint Contract Documents Committee, or EJCDC form. This is an update to their existing MSA, which was originally executed in January of 2018, utilizing a prior version of the EJCDC form. Some of the key changes from this newer version to the prior one are that there are some updates and increases in insurance limits, some minor changes and updates to some standard language and terms and conditions, and then also on the use of documents. Benefits of having the MSA versus providing individual project contracts are consistent terms and agreements regardless of which project's being worked on. Clarity as to the obligations and rights of both parties, which reduce potential conflict, and then it reduces review time for staff for future project contracts. City attorney has reviewed the document, no comments. City engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skocic. Any questions or comments on this MSA KLJ Engineering agreement? Not, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next up, we have a general consulting task order with KLJ. Mr. Skocic.
Good evening again, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is a task order with KLJ Engineering LLC to perform general services. This task order will be under the new MSA, which was just presented and approved at the commission meeting here. Typical tasks that we'd maybe request under general services would anticipate to be miscellaneous engineering and surveying requests. One of the key attributes here would be updates to our transportation network model utilizing the Vistro software. That was included in our transportation master plan, so similar to our water distribution model that we currently have and been updating and keeping live. That would be one of our intended goals, is to keep that system live so that we're not, say, some years from now choosing to update our transportation master plan. We're not starting from scratch. We've got an up-to-date and live model. And then if there's any reviews, such as any platting or easements, legal descriptions, utility information, signage, those are the kind of things that we've asked for from a general services standpoint historically. So city engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Skocic. Any questions on the KLJ task order for general consulting? Any questions? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Riddle,
Second.
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Riddle,
Aye.
Mr. Murphy,
Aye.
Dr. Bear,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We have a grant writing service task order with KLJ. Mr. Skocic.
Good evening again, Mr. President, Commissioners. For your consideration is a task order with KLJ Engineering LLC to perform grant writing services for the 2026 year for an hourly not to exceed amount as specified in the contract, which is $68,260. The individual projects that will be that are going to be funding the project grants are noted below in the table. We specifically looked at which opportunities might be coming up throughout the 2026 year and budgeted for these. If certain opportunities don't necessarily come available, then the services won't be utilized. We've been utilizing KLJ for a few years now for grant writing services, and we've had a lot of success as far as looking at from a general standpoint of where our grant opportunities throughout our capital improvement projects, getting some assistance on especially like urban funding or some of the additional flex fund applications and those kind of things through the North Dakota Department of Transportation, which we recently just were awarded the flex fund grant for the 10th Avenue East project that as soon as we have a contract, we'll be bringing that forth to the commission. But with that being said, city engineering staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Sklachik. Any questions on this grant writing task order with KLJ? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Bear,
Second?
second by Commissioner Murphy. Any further questions or comments? We'll go ahead and vote. Dr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Riddle?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. And last but not least, we have our monthly report from Engineering and Community Development.
Good evening again, Mr. President, Commissioners. So our monthly report for engineering and community development. So we'll start off with planning. So we've received a total of 9 individual development applications throughout 2026, and we've got those listed out as far as which applications have been received. And at the date of last week, we already had 11 total individual pre-application meetings throughout 2026 so far. So it's been a busy start to the year. Building and code enforcement. So the data range for this was February 24th, 2026, and you can see the total number of building permits paid and picked up, and it's got the split between city and county permits, but also residential and commercial related. Jumping ahead, so our data range was also reported through February 26th of 2026. So those projects that we've currently moved to the execution phase, 5th Street Southeast, which the bid award was just awarded, East Water Tank interior coatings just awarded. The bid for the I-94 West Business Loop and 2 roundabouts, that occurred last Friday. And so we'll be bringing forward that bid award in the near term here as soon as I get the documents from the North Dakota Department of Transportation. And happy to say that that came in just slightly under our engineer's estimates. So that was wonderful news for us. And then looking ahead at getting started on the Baylor building expansion as soon as we can get some load restrictions lifted and those kind of things. Also had a pre-construction meeting with the manhole repair contractor and looking at getting started on that as soon as possible, being the sense of urgency with that one, getting some of those manholes fixed. We aren't necessarily looking at restricting the activities inside of the normal window that we would otherwise allow. So we'll make sure all material specifications and requirements for temperatures and all of those kind of things are still withheld, but and occur, but trying to move on that one as quick as we can. And then as we get the other projects bid out and presented and whatnot, then we'll move the other projects up into the execution phase. And then the projects ultimately that are ongoing right now, sorted them from percentage complete, just to show all the different projects that we currently have complete. A number of those are going out to bid as we speak, and we got a number of bid openings coming up on March 12th. That'll be a busy morning. Making a lot of good progress on a number of different projects, and starting to get with the nice weather and whatnot, starting to get survey crews back out in the field and getting a lot of data collection done and getting projects matured. And then on to the Geographical Information System, or GIS. So we have a new staff member, a GIS technician, Ryan Fell, just started yesterday, so very excited to have him on board. And comes to us from Wisconsin and has a couple years of experience, as well as a degree with a minor in some computer science, so he's got some good programming experience and those kind of things. So that'll be very good for working with the team and working with Daryl Holcoulter. Had a number of things going on related to, there was a question in the last meeting about the credits that were associated with that quote. Ultimately, those credits were not something that we've historically been purchasing and haven't necessarily been using, and so we've never actually purchased any additional credits, so those have not been something that we've ultimately been utilizing, which is arguably why I wasn't able to explain, because I was like, well, we haven't been using some, so yeah, so thanks for your patience as I got that answer out there. And one great opportunity that we are working on right now and have made some really good headway on this is similar to the other web applications that you see some examples of those down below. So associated with our street information map, there's some availability for some additional utilization and functionality for road and street closures, lane closures, those kind of things. So the intent is to ultimately make a more interactive type of a map functionality, so you can see which lane and street closures are occurring, how long they're intended to be closed for. We can even specify or route out different detours if they're specified in our plan sets for certain things. So then you'd have that ability to scroll in and out and ultimately see throughout town where all lane and street closures are occurring at a given point in time, as well as then where those detours might be. So I think it'll be a much more interactive, much more functional opportunity for the citizens to utilize. And working through those details right now with our construction project manager and with Mr. Holcoulter, our GIS specialist. So with that being said, I'd stand for any questions.
Commissioners, any questions for Josh or staff? I have one, and it may be just completely wacky, but the East Broadway Dam. Mr. Keller sits up. That's his area right there. The East Broadway Dam. When we begin the reconstruction, are we demolishing the old dam first before they begin the new dam? So have we contacted Game and Fish to trap any of the fish that are in the Hart River? Because if not, when I was driving around the ETZ counting all the containers, the storage containers, we are going to have a massive fish kill downstream. There is a huge choke point on the Hart River. And there is no way when that gets drained, those fish are going to make it through and they will all die. I can tell you that right now. So I don't know if we've coordinated with Game and Fish that they can do some kind of shocking exercise or something like that to remove some of the fish out of there and maybe transplant them to Patterson, or at least put them in one of our local lakes rather than all these fish. And there are a lot of fish in the Hart River for those of us that have fished it in the past. So I'm just a question for you if there's been any coordination with Game and Fish.
Not yet.
Okay. And you can put that on your checklist. So any other comments or questions for staff? All right. Well, thank you very much. Move into public comments. No one has signed up this evening. Commission comments. Commissioners, any comments? Anyone? All right. If there are none, I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
We are adjourned.